Hey guys, welcome to the Simplify Your Life podcast. It's Coach Simona and I'm glad you decided to tune in. What's up everyone? In today's podcast episode, we're going to talk about a topic that is very near and dear to my heart. And I'm going to share with you 4 tips on how to overcome shyness and social anxiety. Now let's jump right into it. Maybe some of you know that already, but I'm an introvert. I prefer spending time alone, and although I have a few great friends, I'm not much of a small talker. Although I no longer struggle with social anxiety, I used to be very shy, especially in high school. I had a few great friends, but when it came to socializing, I had to get a drink or two to loosen up and have a conversation, which is exactly the opposite of what I recommend for overcoming shyness. Now, I know that shyness has many different origins, but it's important to know which one is your reason for being shy. Here's my first tip on how to overcome shyness and social anxiety. Find out the real reason for being shy. Oftentimes, the instinctive answer to questions like this is, I don't know. But the truth is, you always do. It just takes a little more time and practice to learn to listen to your body and the little subtle cues that it's giving you. Social anxiety and shyness don't just happen. Maybe you've been bullied at school or have racing thoughts about what other people think of you. Or feel awkward and don't know what to say when you meet people. Here are some questions you can ask yourself to gain more clarity. Number 1. Was there a time in my childhood when I felt really embarrassed? 2. Did my parents or caregivers insult me as a child? 3. Was I bullied at school? 4. Do I think I'm awkward, weird, or unlovable? And 5. Am I afraid that other people will reject me? Oftentimes, social anxiety has something to do with our need to feel liked, validated, appreciated, and accepted for who we truly are. If we have a distorted image of ourselves, or have experienced emotional abuse or name-calling, it's way more difficult to go out there and expose yourself to potential threats. Which leads me to my next tip. Start gradual exposure to your stressors. I highly recommend working with a therapist or a coach, but if you want to do this on your own, I completely understand. Here's what I recommend you do in 3 of the most common case scenarios. Case scenario number 1. If you're afraid of going alone in public, go out early in the morning when there are not that many people up. Go to a coffee shop and sit there for 15 minutes. When you feel comfortable with that, go to lunch alone and stay 30 minutes. Then opt for dinner and stay a whole hour. Case scenario number 2. If you're afraid of talking to strangers, start sparking a conversation with someone you've already met. The cashier at the grocery store, the flower lady down the street, your neighbors, etc. Once you get comfortable with that, pay someone you don't know a genuine compliment. You can also greet a stranger or simply maintain eye contact and smile. And common case scenario number 3. If you're afraid of embarrassing yourself, push yourself to do things that are out of your comfort zone. This is a very broad topic that I'm not going to be able to cover in one podcast episode, but here are some suggestions. If you're afraid of public speaking, go on Instagram and record daily Instagram stories. Then, do some live video. Then, present in front of a few friends or family on a topic that you're truly passionate about. Gradually increase the number of people and exposure, and you will become significantly more confident. Actually, let's pause for a second. What is confidence? It's all about repetition. When our minds are unfamiliar with certain experiences, they tend to freak out. Your mind's job is to protect you from lions and tigers. So no wonder it wants you to stay safe in what's familiar, even if what's familiar is no longer serving you or making you happy. My third tip is to reward yourself for every little win. Let's say today you went to a party. Usually you don't go to parties or just sit in the corner hoping that nobody talks to you. But today you worked up the courage to talk to someone. You asked them how they knew the host and had a genuine conversation with them. You felt connected, although your heart almost jumped out of your chest. Then you went home with a smile on your face Because you knew that you at least did something this time. You changed your story. You tried something new. Yeah, you're aware that you still have a long way to go before you overcome your shyness. But that is a step forward. And now it's time to reward yourself. Maybe watch your favorite show, or make yourself a cup of hot cocoa, or something else that feels like a real treat. Enjoy it, and repeat the same thing next time you go to a party. But this time, try to talk to at least 2 people. Now, tip number 4 is to shift your focus. What do I mean by this? When you're shy, you focus on yourself. You worry about what others think of you, how you look, how you talk, how you'll be perceived by them. But when you shift your focus outwards and genuinely get interested in the other person, your whole physiology will change. Social anxiety is directly linked to shallow breathing, muscle clenching, and other shrinking characteristics of your body. Now, imagine being genuinely involved in a conversation with another human being. Not on what you're gonna say or how you're gonna say it, but simply by looking them directly in the eye, smiling, and kindly offering them help, paying them a compliment, or simply saying hi. When you're genuinely paying attention to the other person and ask them questions that will get them to talk about themselves, you will not only forget about yourself for a second, but also have time to take a few deep breaths and get comfortable with the conversation. Let the other person lead. Be kind and compassionate. Take deep breaths, and at some point, you will notice that you will get out of your head and start enjoying the conversation. Being an introvert is a gift. I don't consider it a flaw. You read people very well, you're observant, and have a creative inner world. But the outer world needs you in it. You're only born once, and when you think about it, that's pretty amazing. Don't dim your own light. Don't hide in the corners because you're afraid. You're bigger than your fear. You're bigger than your story. You're whoever you choose to be. So instead of saying to yourself, I am shy, try saying something like, I am working on being more open to people. Your identity can change in time if you take consistent action and expose yourself to things that scare you, one by one. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you have any tips on social anxiety? What's your story? Share in the comments below. Make sure to like this episode if you liked it, and subscribe to my channel if you don't want to miss out on my weekly podcast episodes. Thank you for listening. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you in the next one.